Okay, so let's talk about what I think should be your first moving head if you are a DJ or an aspiring lighting technician. So, you've seen these before. If you haven't, well, I'm actually surprised because these pop up on Amazon, AliExpress, all over the place. Essentially, all they are is a par can that moves. I think that's actually awesome. The reason being is most of us, there's some exceptions out there, but most of us can't use a lot of haze and fog anymore, so it's very nice to have wash effects because those beams, just, you don't see them. Now, some of the big expensive moving heads with a large prism effect that you can really see them moving around the room, making a nice big bright image, those can work wonders, but are quite a bit, in some cases 10 times as expensive as these guys. So if you've never owned a moving head before, honestly start with these, because not only will these look better because they'll give you that wash effect that we generally are after these days, especially for weddings. They give you the movement without needing fog or haze to really show it off, because these are going to create a lot of shadows, and those shadows are going to move. So as this is moving around, their shadows move with it, and it looks really cool. It's a very, very good effect. On top of that, if you're doing, say, lighting for a small venue, right? You got a bar or a club, and you don't want to get up there, okay, we've got a 5-piece band this week, so let's get up on the ladder and just kind of move the lights. No, you can just have these DMX'd in, and then you can adjust your angle so that, I mean, they're wash lights, they're not a spotlight, but you can angle them a little more directly at where the musicians are going to be, just to brighten them up a little bit more, as well as, again, adding motion to the show. Now, let's get into the pros and cons. Now that's a bit of the overview on these. We're going to start with the cons because I like to leave on a positive note. Con, all made of plastic. They're rattly. They're not the greatest construction. It's to be expected at this price range. They do not have the 270-degree tilt that I would like. If you're not familiar with that, because again, this might be your first moving head, tilt is how far it can aim up and down. This is 180 degrees, give or take. Now, 270 is my preference, because then you can have these on, a table, on top of a speaker, or on a totem, right? They do look a little funny on the top of a totem, but they get the job done, especially if you're just getting started. If you have them there, you can aim them down at the dance floor if you have 270 degrees. If not, the closest you can do is have them aiming straight forward, which can be a bit bright on people's eyes. So even with my par cans, usually when I'm lighting the dance floor, I don't aim them dead on. I angle them down a bit, and it really cuts down on the brightness directly in the eye while still being able to keep the lights cranked up in brightness pretty well. So that is a con on these. There are some ways around that. It's a little bit harder on the motor, and I don't know if a lot of the manufacturers recommend it, but you can mount these sideways. They do come with a mount. So then you can aim them straight at the floor, up at the ceiling, and everywhere in between. So that is a good way around that, but it will reduce potentially the longevity of the light. Other cons, they are noisy. No doubt about it. You can hear it even, you might not be able to hear that, me just moving it, but you do hear the belts and stuff in there moving, so they do squeak a little bit. I wouldn't use them with like an a cappella group or something like that. I would only use these in louder situations, right? So again, bar shows with a band, wedding DJ, don't be having these moving while somebody is giving a toast or something like that, because people will hear them. The fans, you can hear them, but they're not as bad as people kind of make them out to be. Because usually the reason people say the fans are so bad is they'll be in a situation like this, where they'll be right here showing people this light and just, but the fan is so loud. Once you get it up on a truss, you can hear it. You know it's there. Kind of like having, a computer in your room across the room for you, right? You can hear it, but it's not the end of the world, right? You might even be able to hear my computer humming away next to me here because I've been recording for a while. So those, I think, are the main cons. So let's get to the pros. Number one, very, very bright. These ones, I believe I got the 12-watt version. I could be wrong. They're crazy bright for what they are. And a couple of these can light a small dance floor, right? You bring 2 of these to an event, hook them up under your speakers like that. Not only do you get the cool moving head effect, but it's washing everything. Awesome. Everybody wins. They are very easy to program, right? By having those RGBW LEDs, the color side of it is just as easy to program as a general wash light. So especially if you're using, say, a traditional, DMX controller, you got one of those, I've got one of those cheap ones in the other room that are like $50 and they get the job done and all that stuff. It's easy to program your colors and stuff on here, especially if you've already got par cans, so you're already used to these. Easy to color match to these so that you've got the same colors going or alternating colors, etc. Because RGBW, you're not, at the whims of, are the lenses in my gobo wheel color selector, are they close to what I have programmed in? No, this is a lot more plug and play in that respect, as well as a lot more color options compared to a more gobo type effect or beam with the the rotating lens for color selection. These color selection in the diode. Other pros is general availability and price. Now, be careful. I have seen these going for like $250 plus, at least here in Canada. That's ridiculous. You should be able to get these for under or around $100. If you're going to be spending more than $200 on a moving head like this, look into the version that has, it's either 15 or 18 lights with like a zoom feature. That will blow these out of the water in terms of usefulness and brightness. Costs quite a bit more, but if you're going to be spending that much anyway, that's how I would go. Yeah, I got 2 of these for $50 each Canadian. When I went to buy 2 more, they were sold out because I bought 2 of them. I was like, oh, actually, these are way better than I thought they would be. Sold out. So my lens is a little skewed because $50, right? Like there's par cans out there. There's no name brand par cans out there that cost more than $50 each, right? So at $50 Canadian, so about $40 American, depending on the month, these were a steal. Now, if you can get them for about at or under $100, I think they are brilliant. I think they are perfect stepping stone kind of lights, because if you're used to more static stuff like this, say, you've been doing, sound activated lights like a effects swarm or whatever. You've moved to par cans. You've finally got your DMXing down. Oh, but moving heads, those look really hard to program and stuff. Try something like this first. And because they have so many uses, you're not going to find you have to retire these very quickly. They are inexpensive lights, so don't expect them to last forever. But just in terms of their usefulness, I would take these over, a 20 watt or under beam or spot, right? Like a 10 watt moving head, single LED compared to the light you're going to get out of these, you are going to find you're using that a lot less in the long run than something like this, because this becomes a spare par can in a lot of situations. This is useful. Oh, I'm doing a bar gig, and they want me to do lights for the band that I'm DJing in between. They can mount in a bunch of different ways that still look good. You know, you can have them on your desk like this, and you program them so that they're not blinding anybody, but they're doing a bunch of cool moving things around, all that. Lots of options. Now, I'll probably have some B-roll footage in here, but we're just going to plug this guy in just so you can see the process of it setting itself up. So it has like a micro switch on the pan feature, so you'll hear it, it'll click it, and then it knows that it has reset. And now it's going. So let me turn off those lights. These are, as you probably can tell, not the kind of lights that I would set in auto modes and let them run, because they do strobe right away. It's not the best. They do have sound to light mode, but the programming that I've seen on these, you might be able to adjust the sensitivity, and I just missed it. But yeah, not my taste there. I would DMX these 100%. Yeah, if you have any questions on these, let me know. I have no recommendations as to which brand or which platform is best to buy them, because like I said, I got these for $50 off of Amazon. They are not available there anymore under this particular retailer. But I think for the beginner DJ, you know, sometimes popular things are popular for a reason. And these are all over the place. A lot of DJs have used these. A lot of DJs have used these in far more expensive rigs than I have, because they work. They look good, and they're inexpensive. What more can you ask for? And the stuff that I would say I would ask for, I can get out of more expensive fixtures from a lot of the companies that sell this light. So you have options there, but if you want something, you know, inexpensive but good, this is the way to go. Don't get yourself like a tiny beam. It sends out one thing and it looks really cool in fog. I don't think you'll get as much out of it, and you're paying the same price. I mean, you can get those after. Start with these, because honestly, I still think you should start with more like the Parcan style thing like this, or I did a video on the first lights I would recommend, where it's, you know, a Parcan with a little effect light for gobos in the middle. I would almost recommend this first if you're going, you know, head first into a lot of this stuff, because then you can just treat them like a Parcan to start while you're learning how to program, and they'll work perfect. And then once you get a bit more of a feel for how to program stuff, you've got those options. I think this may be one of, if not the first light I would recommend. But it all depends, right? The beauty of it is, if you go Parcans first, be it these ones, or like I said, those other ones that I was recommending in that other video, these will complement it real well. They're a welcome addition to almost any light show, unless you've already got, you know, big moving heads like Intimidators and stuff like that. But for under $100, it's a steal. It looks good. Your audience will not know that this thing is an inexpensive, cheap light. I'd take this over any laser, any like Kinta style thing, or, you know, any effect light in its price range. And yeah, I just think these are brilliant. As long as you can find them nice and cheap. Because yeah, if you're going to be paying $150 for one of these kind of thing, I'd take 4 Parcans over that. But your mileage may vary. I'm rambling now. I'm also Dan. This has been Max SPL Videos. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. More videos to come.